happy summer. It's July and it's the last day of Flex Week, which means that I finally have a little bit of time to talk to you about how my surgery rotation went and what I'm thinking about as I go into my internal medicine rotation. If you want a sort of 10-second summary of my surgery rotation, I learned a lot, I had a good experience. It was pretty intense, but I'm grateful it's over and I'm glad to move on to the next thing. The thing about inpatient medicine that I didn't realize before going in was that there's a lot of other stuff you have to think about in addition to just the medicine, if that makes any sense. The patient's diet, how much can they move around, how often do you need to take their vitals, do they need to be in the ICU or on the floor, when do you need to move them from one place to another, when are they good to go home, all this kind of stuff. So that was definitely an interesting thing to think about in comparison to all the outpatient experiences I'd had in the past. Now, the big question that I think a lot of people ask themselves when they're trying to determine if surgery is right for them is, how was the OR? What did you think? I can't say I disliked the OR. I liked the structure and the formality of it in some ways. Everyone gets into their positions and every part of the room has its own function. I liked that a lot. But once I'd seen a procedure maybe 1 or 2 times, I got pretty bored of it. I don't know. I feel like you should be excited going into the OR even if it's a procedure that you've done hundreds of times, and I definitely didn't get that sense. Also, I just don't like standing for that long in one place. I did like some of the procedures that we got to do. I really enjoy suturing, and I got to do a good amount of it. I did enjoy the methodical approach that suturing requires to do it well. I also grew to enjoy consults as much as the residents hated them. There was something kind of cool about going in, not really knowing that much about a patient beyond their age, gender, and whatever they're being consulted for. There's always something about the process of diagnosing, figuring out a next step, and then coming up with a plan together with your team and with the patient that I enjoyed doing. What I am really grateful for about my surgery experience were the residents and the attendings. All of them were super nice. None of them ever made me feel like I wasn't supposed to be there or that I was being a burden by being there, even though I was just a medical student, didn't really know what I was doing a lot of the time. They always helped me feel supported and answered all of my questions really patiently. For someone who probably isn't going to go into surgery, I think I got a lot out of my rotation, learned a lot from the experience, got to see a lot of really cool procedures in the OR, and I just got a better sense of what inpatient medicine is like in general, which I think will be really helpful going into my medicine rotation next. Now I'm approaching the end of my flex week, which sucks. It's been a much needed week. The first 2 or 3 days of the week were trainings, like renewing our BLS certification, having some lectures, and some other mandatory things that we get to do on campus, but the rest of the week was left up to ourselves to do whatever we wanted with. I took full advantage of the 4 or so days that we had off. There were some days where I literally didn't do anything, maybe read a book or listened to some podcasts, played some games, lay on my bed, took a nap or something. That was really nice. Over the weekend, I also went to Boston, and I'm actually going to put in some footage of that now for you to see. So I had a really good time in Boston, and today is Sunday, July 15th. It's the middle of the month actually. Wow, we're already halfway through July, which is crazy. It's the last day before I start my medicine rotation, so I'm just gathering all my books together, making kind of a study schedule, figuring out how I want to tackle this 6-week whirlwind of a rotation. And tomorrow I'm supposed to show up to our orientation site at 7:15 in the morning, and then I'm supposed to drive from there to the actual hospital where I will be rotating, so that's a little annoying, but whatever, it's just part of third year by this point. All of our rotations are 6 weeks long, and this includes medicine, which is a little intimidating because there are other schools that get 8 or 10 or 12 weeks, but so many students have made it through before, and they've turned out all right, I suppose. This is the beginning of the longest stretch in third year, with no real break in between. We're starting block 3, which is 6 weeks long, like all of our rotations. Then we get a weekend. Then we get block 4, then another weekend, and then block 5, and finally then we get our Thanksgiving break / flex week, We have a couple of days in the first half of Thanksgiving week where we have to do the mandatory campus stuff again, but then we get to enjoy Thanksgiving and Black Friday and that weekend before jumping into Block 6. It's going to be a very long couple of months, but I am really glad that I'm getting the more intense surgery and medicine rotations out of the way early. I think by the time the summer's over, I'll be done with the hardest part and I'll get my weekends back, which is super exciting. And with that, tomorrow I start my medicine rotation, which is kind of what we came here to do, right? It's like, it's called medicine for a reason. We're studying medicine and now we're going into the medicine rotation. I don't know. So that's all for now. Here we go into Block 3, my medicine rotation.